My name is Eric Jones.
My name is James Wells.
And my name is Greg Walton.
And then can you guys just talk to us a little bit about where are we right now?
Well, we're in Tyler's Beach in Rushmere, Virginia. A little small community, little waterman's town for black watermen. Back in the, probably 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, kind of died out a little bit. In the 80s, slowed down, the Keep-On came through. I think in 1975, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's
Shut everything down for 13 years.
Yep, shut it down.
We still got some local watermen that fish and crab, oyster, on this end. But
Yeah, I think the Keep On thing was a host though, because they had an imaginary line. Said you could fish on this side of the line, but you couldn't fish on that side of the line. So the fish don't know where the line is. The fish swim under the water. So it was a lot of stuff behind
It was a pesticide that was released into the water in 1975 up in Hopewell. About 30 miles upstream?
Yeah, about 30 miles upstream. Well, one thing about the James River is the most productive oyster ground in the world, in the whole world. And the reason being that the currents come through so fast across the oyster rocks. When they lay their lava during the fall, they spread downstream, and that create a big oyster ground. That's what we have out there. So James River has been the most productive oyster ground, and also shad fishing. We used to shad fish back what was that wagon back in there?
Well, during our time in the late 60s for our generation, 60s and 70s, and they kind of slowed down in the 80s with the Keep On, but shad fish was a big part of the economy here for the local watermen. Most of the community around here, the guys mostly work the river during the day. They work normally at the shipyards or the meatpacking plants at night. But the guys in this area were pretty productive. As a whole, in Isle County, I think the black watermen in this area did pretty well for themselves, but because of that reason, because they had, dual occupations and they worked hard, with crabbing and working the water in their other job. So they did a pretty good job doing that during their time.
Yeah, now oystermen, my dad was one of the best oystermen out there till I come along. I ain't gonna think when I come along now. You tell them, Wagon.
Yeah.
I was a bad boy out there oystering, and I started oystering when I was like 14 years old. I always went out there with my dad and them, and I used to learn how to oyster. It's an art to that. I mean, I used to be up the front of the boat. They always put new beginners up the front. And the first day I went out there by myself, I went with an old guy named Johnny Times, and I was like 14. I worked in the back of the boat with the grown people. That's what I called it back then. I was happy. And Johnny told me at the end of the day, he said, "Boy, you oyster better than a whole lot of these grown people I know out here." So I just kept it up, and I did that for a living, paid my way through college and everything out there on that James River. And I used to hear an old guy, remember Randolph Smith?
Yeah.
Randolph Smith used to say, it won't a day, how bad it was, how bad the wind blow, that if anybody around here had to pay a bill, like a light bill or something, they could go out there in that river and make the money to pay that bill. You know what I mean? So it was real productive for us around here. You know what I mean? Like I said, it was a job for me, but a lot of people would suck at jobs.
So where's it at today? Like when you guys talk about the James River today, I see people still going out on boats, but where would you say it is in comparison to where it was at that time period when I would say you were getting your start, and when somebody could, let's say they have a light bill that's overdue, you get out there and go get it. Where's that at now?
Regulations hurt us. Government shut us down. They put a moratorium on rockfish, and rockfish is a predator. He'll eat his own babies. So we had some scientists up in Maryland. They cut open a 3-pound rockfish. He had 40 juvenile crabs in his belly. So the crab was wondering where all the crabs go. So they stopped the commercial fishing from catching rockfish, so the big, rich sports fishermen could catch them because they were trophy fish. So and when they did, they populated the James River, overpopulated the James River, and he was eating everything. He eat crabs, he eat his own babies, he was eating baby shad. So that kind of diminished the shad in the James River. And then also, I heard a lot of old timers say when they built the dam up in Richmond, it's a shad fish designed, and that's God and nature, man. If a shad fish is born in this James River, when he go out to sea, when he come back to lay his eggs, he come back to the same river that he was born in. We had the York River, the James River, and a couple of rivers going up y'all way Potomac. But when they coming back in, from the smell of the water, they were the fish that was born in the York River, they would fly right on past the James River, and they would, when they get that certain smell, they know they was at home, so they go up the York River. And when they built that dam up there, all the old timers said it blocked that water up there, so that the water wouldn't come down, and fish couldn't smell it. So it hurt shad fishing in this area. It hurt it bad. But that was one, like I said, that was one of the biggest things doing. We should start shad fishing in February the 15th. About February the 15th, up until the fish went all the way through, laid the eggs, and then when they come back, you can tell when they laid his eggs, because when we catch them before they get up there, you know, his belly real fat, that's when they got the roe in. But when he go up there and lay his eggs, when the female laid the eggs, when they come back, they was real slim. And we call them run backs.
We hope now that our kids and grandkids, you know, take the same love and that passion that we had, you know, for my grandfathers and fathers and them. But I guess it's kind of natural for us, because we've been here ever since we could walk, you know, coming to this beach and being on this river, you know, coming down here to swim and play as kids. Before that harbor was here, it was just a stream over there. And we used to come down and eat plums off the trees and go to Miss Grace Bradley's house and eat cherries off a cherry tree up on the hill and just jump across the stream, and we was right over in the beach. And our family members had most of the places here, so we got treated like royalty with all the sodas and candies and cookies, everything that we could think of. And everybody knew us and knew our mamas and daddies, so we didn't ever really have nothing to worry about, anything like that. So, you know, we had a good life. It was a good life.
See, and back in the day, this was part of the children circuit. James Brown, been right up to here, we had a ballpark up here. James Brown and Marvin Gaye used to travel this, Oldest Red number for like part of the children circuit, because it was a black-owned beach. So all our family, you know, we just grew up here, and I love it. I ain't going nowhere. You might know some of that, don't you?
It was just being here. It was just being here. I'm from Philadelphia originally. And so I've been to the Uptown Theaters, James Brown and all those guys didn't excite me because I've seen them with the Motown Review. But to see them come here, it let me know just how important this place was. That it was a stop of what we call the Chitlin Circuit. You know, where people wanted to be, a place where people wanted to be. Churches used to come down and do picnics. You had Wakefield Day, Chuckatuck Day, and it was a big time. And when they came down here, they would take people out, baptize them in the water and everything. So this was sacred ground. It was a circuit where black performers, dancers, musicians, singers could make the rounds to Philadelphia, New York, Baltimore, Annapolis, anywhere where they could hone their skill and get better at it.
Yeah, and it was during Jim Crow,
right,
where black folks weren't allowed to go anywhere else. So these were places where you could let your guard down a little bit. It didn't say no color. You know, you felt comfortable there. Carr's Beach in Annapolis, Maryland was one of the bigger ones as well. You know, other folks came and had to build cottages so the performers could actually stay in those cottages because they couldn't stay at the white hotels. So it was all mostly, I want to say, east of the Mississippi, but it was down, you know, in Louisiana, Florida, and all the way up to Long Island, and I think maybe even Connecticut.